What's up, y'all? Today we are going to talk about charging, okay? Rates, all of the above. I think charging when it comes to photography is always like that pin drop in the room. Like, it could be hard and it changes over time. So be okay with charging your worth, one, and two, just get comfortable with talking about money when it comes to photography. I know when I first started, charging people was like one of the things that was kind of like taboo to me. I started charging people $30 for photo shoots, y'all. Let's be real. I started at the lowest amount that you could possibly do for a photo shoot, and now I charge what I'm worth, and it will grow over time as I grow. So I want you to think about it in that aspect, that your rate will consistently change just as you do. That the more you learn, the more experience you have, the more it will increase. So be open to that, get comfortable with yourself when it comes to your rate, and let's jump into the video. The importance of a day rate. Let's start there. A day rate is pretty much your rate to book you for the day. This is something you should just have on your Google Drive, or I think most people use Google Drive, but just have it as a doc on your Google Drive, and it should just have pretty much the rundown of how much it costs to book you for a day. And that day can range between 8 and 10 hours. Normally shoots on a long stretch are 10 hours max. Anything over that you can come up with a fee to charge more for, but they normally range 8 hours full day to like 10. So you would come up with a rate that it would take to book you for the day. That can range for different photographers, like whatever you're doing. If you're doing product, it may range differently from if you're doing portraits. So you want to research and see what other photographers are charging, and then kind of lay in where you fall into play and your skill set, what you bring to the table. That's kind of the way that I figured out my day rate. My day rate also changes over time. It changes maybe either every 6 months or every year, and that increases due to the amount of skill and effort you go through within that 6 months or within that year. Aside from a day rate, you're also going to have a half day rate, which is anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of shooting. You're just basically breaking up what it costs to book you within time frames. You can do this hourly. You can do this. What I normally do is incorporate hourly and my skill sets. My day rate incorporates all of those things, and so with my half day rate. As far as coming up with the rates for individual different shoots like product photography, portraiture photography, fashion lookbook photography, you want to make sure you're breaking things up, which is why you kind of want to start with a half day rate and a day rate, because when people inquire how much things are going to cost to book you, you want to make sure that you're able to send something out to kind of give them an idea of how much it would cost to book you. You're also going to follow up with the invoice, which would, once you book the gig, which would basically show the rundown of what they're paying for the day. So I recently did a product shoot, and I'll link a sample mock-up of a invoice and also a rate sheet below that kind of explains like how the structure of it will be and what it should look like for you as an individual. If you have a logo, if you don't have a logo, like, and it's plenty of sites, I'll also link those below, that have access to making invoices for you as well. So I'll link a few invoice sites that I use when I'm lazy and I don't feel like making custom invoices. I just hop on these sites and just key in the information. It's pretty easy, simple, and it gets the work done for you. As far as my products photography, my starting rate for that normally for a full day of shooting would range anywhere $1,000 to maybe $1,500. On the low end, for maybe 3 to 5 hours, I would charge anywhere between $500, and $750. And so you can kind of get an idea of where the range is, like, and what's going to take more work. So this also does not incorporate studio fees, deposits, any retouching that's additional, or any equipment fees that you might have to incorporate. You kind of save things like that for the invoice and not the initial rate to book you, because it's different. Your rate that it takes for you to creatively do something is completely outside of what you're gonna book a studio fee for or equipment for. So, and it also depends on whoever is booking you. Sometimes you have high baller clients, sometimes you have a low baller client, sometimes it's just your neighbor that needs a portrait taken, which in that case, I wouldn't even consider, you know, sending out a rate sheet for smaller shoots. If it's like $100, $300, I would just let the person know, you know, this is what it is. But to get into the habit of actually sending out rate sheets, I think it's cool to just structure a few, have them set up in your Google Docs. That way, when people reach and contact you, you can just kind of send it out and get in the habit of letting people know what your rate is to book you. So when it comes to deposits, I normally charge for deposits anywhere between $150 and $300, and that's basically a down payment. For a particular shoot, like a product shoot, I might ask for $300 to put a down payment on any studio that I have to book, or props that I may have to go and pick up for the shoot. I incorporate that into the deposit, and it's also just an overall deposit fee to secure me for the day, because you want to make sure that you have like something to kind of secure the day, especially if it's a new client you're working with. You want to make sure that they are invested in that day and you're not going to get canceled on. So deposits are really important as well. As far as retouching, I touched on this in a few of my other videos, but retouching is pretty much skill based when it comes to like actually putting a price on it. Like, they can range anywhere from $30 to $150 to $250 per image. So you really want to figure out where you sit with that, and by doing that you can kind of do research on more of like high-end, you know, retouching and what it looks like, opposed to like where you kind of fall in line with things. I normally just add my retouching rate by the amount of things I'm going to retouch, and then the intensity of like, what am I doing? Am I retouching skin? Am I doing color correction? Which I normally probably am, because I do a lot of color work. So that's like a thing within itself. So you just want to key in what you specialize in, and you want to make sure that you're pricing that to what works for you, what you feel comfortable with at the end of the day. Because coming up with the rate and how you charge is what it's going to take for you to do the job comfortably. And that means without cutting corners, without, you know, figuring out ways to like, you know, dupe whatever you're trying to do. And this varies for different levels. Like when it comes to headshots, you know, if the client cannot particularly afford what you can offer, you can always make rate sheets depending on what you want to give the client. You can make a rate sheet, let's say it's for headshots, and you want to have an option for $150, an option for $250, and an option for $350. And you can decide in each one of those pockets what you're willing to offer for that amount of money. So rates is not really taboo like people make it seem. It's really like offering whoever the client is an opportunity to like, see, this is what I can do for this amount. This is what I can't do for this amount. So really negotiating and letting the client or clients know that you're willing to work with them, but you're also not willing to go below, you know, your ability to create. So keep that in mind, guys, while you're out here sending out rate sheets, and hopefully this video kind of helped guide you guys in the right direction when it comes to making a rate sheet, or even just talking to clients about money, because I know that conversation can be kind of iffy and you don't want to lose clients. So always be willing to talk and just communicate with people about it to make sure you secure the bag. So stay tuned for more videos. I'll be back with more content showing you guys how to just navigate through this photo world and master your gaze. Peace.